Welcome to the enchanted world of Auroria, a kingdom unlike any other. Imagine mountains that shimmer with an inner light, forests that glow with magical energy, and the even lakes that float gently in the sky. At the very heart of this realm stands a magnificent palace, carved from a single, giant crystal that catches the light and scatters rainbows across the land. In this breathtaking kingdom lived 4 princesses, each born with a unique and powerful gift, bestowed upon them by the ancient guardians of nature. Though they shared the same royal blood, these sisters were as different as the elements they commanded. The eldest was Princess Aria, the master of wind and the sky. Her hair flowed like a soft breeze, and her voice held the power to summon gentle winds or conjure fierce, roaring storms. She spent her days soaring through the clouds, feeling the freedom of the open sky. But Aria was proud. She truly believed her power was the greatest of all, and she wasn't afraid to say it. Next was Princess Liora, as warm and gentle as the morning sunlight. She controlled the elements of light and healing. With a simple thought, she could glow brighter than the most brilliant star, and with a single touch, she could mend wounds and soothe pain. Liora brought hope and comfort wherever she went, but her gentle nature often made her feel lonely. Her sisters saw her kindness as a weakness, thinking she was too soft for a world of power. Then there was Princess Selene, the calm and mysterious ruler of water and the ice. She could create winding rivers from thin air and shape delicate, perfect snowflakes in the palm of her hand. When angered, she could command storms of frozen rain that would chill the very air. But Selene was withdrawn, keeping her thoughts and feelings to herself. She preferred the quiet solitude of her world over the constant arguments of her sisters. Finally, there was the youngest, Princess Emberlyn, who wielded the untamed forces of fire and the airs. She was a whirlwind of creation and destruction. In one moment, she could make an entire forest grow in a matter of seconds. In the next, she could summon blazing flames that danced like powerful dragons. Emberlyn was fierce, passionate, and incredibly stubborn. She was convinced she was strong enough on her own and never needed anyone's help. Even though they lived in the same crystal palace, the sisters might as well have been worlds apart. They each resided in a separate tower, perfectly reflecting their nature. Aria's tower reached high into the sky, lost among the clouds. Liora's was filled with a constant, warm light. Selene's was surrounded by tranquil, flowing water, and the Emberlyn's was a riot of color, blooming with fire-lit gardens. Their days were filled with bickering and rivalry. They argued over the smallest things, constantly competed to prove whose power was superior, and they flat out refused to work together on anything. The people of Auroria loved their princesses, but they also worried. They would whisper among themselves in the glowing streets, a sad truth passing from one person to the next. We have 4 princesses, yet we have 4 lonely hearts. The kingdom was beautiful, but a shadow of discord was slowly growing, cast by the 4 towers that stood divided. What they didn't know was that a true test of their strength was just on the horizon, a challenge that none of them could ever face alone. Far beyond the shimmering kingdom of Auroria, nestled deep within the eerie Forbidden Valley, ancient shadows began to stir. A monstrous being, known for centuries only in hushed whispers as the Shadow Devourer, was breaking free from its prison of stone. Locked away for ages, it awakened with a roar that tore through the skies, unleashing a thick, choking fog that crept across the land, swallowing everything in its path. This creature didn't feast on flesh or bone. It fed on fear, it devoured light, and it consumed magic itself. As its darkness spread, the once vibrant rivers of Auroria froze solid. The lush, green forests withered into skeletal remains, and a perpetual night fell over the kingdom. The people of Auroria, their hearts filled with terror, fled to the grand palace, their desperate cries echoing through the halls. "Save us!" They pleaded to the 4 princesses, their only hope against the encroaching void. Each princess, proud and powerful, stepped forward, ready to defend their home. Yet, each believed that she alone held the key to victory, that her power was superior. This confidence would soon be their undoing. The first battle began, a clash of elemental might against an insatiable darkness. Princess Aria, master of the winds, was the first to strike. She summoned a mighty tornado, a swirling vortex of fire designed to rip the monster apart. But with a guttural laugh, the Shadow Devourer simply opened its vast maw and swallowed the winds whole, leaving the air still and heavy. Next, Princess Liora, whose very essence was light, shone with the brilliance of 1,000 suns. She unleashed a blinding golden ray, a beacon of hope meant to banish the darkness. Yet, the monster seemed to drink the light, absorbing every single ray until Liora's glow was reduced to a mere flicker. Undeterred, Princess Selene, the Warden of Winter, took her turn. She froze the fairy ground beneath the creature's feet and launched a barrage of razor-sharp icy spears. But the Shadow Devourer shattered them with a flick of its claw, the ice exploding into useless shards of glass. Finally, it was Princess Emberlyn's chance. With a furious scream, she unleashed a torrent of blazing fire and molten lava, a river of destruction aimed at incinerating the shadowy beast. But the darkness was like a suffocating blanket, smothering the flames until only wisps of smoke remained. One by one, the sisters were struck down, their powers fading, their bodies bruised and broken. And for the very first time in their lives, as they lay defeated on the cold ground, they felt true, paralyzing fear. The battle was lost. The shadow of the Devourer loomed over the palace, growing larger with every passing second. On the highest rooftop, the four princesses gathered, their fine silks torn, their confident postures replaced by trembling shoulders. The weight of their failure pressed down on them. Aria was the first to speak, her voice barely a whisper. "My winds, they are nothing alone." Selene, her gaze fixed on the approaching darkness, nodded in agreement. Water cannot fight darkness by itself. Emberlyn, her fiery spirit nearly extinguished, clenched her fists in frustration. "Fire burns out," she admitted, her voice cracking. The silence that followed was heavy with despair. Then, Liora, the Princess of Light, took a brave step forward. She placed her faintly glowing hand in the center of their small circle. "We don't need to be perfect," she sighed, her voice gaining strength. "We just need to be together." A new kind of light sparked in her eyes, not one of power, but of understanding. Slowly, and with a shared pain that went deeper than their wounds, the sisters reached out. Aria's hand, then Selene's, then Emberlyn's. For the first time in years, the four princesses joined hands, their individual strengths finally connecting, ready to face the darkness not as rivals, but as one. What a breathtaking surge of magic erupted around the four sisters. Winds began to spiral in a powerful vortex, while flames danced with an untamed energy. Mighty rivers swirled around them, their currents strong and alive. Ice formed into dazzling, razor-sharp crystals that glittered in the chaotic light. A brilliant light, as bright as a newborn sun, burst forth, and the fairy earth rose beneath their feet, trembling with power. All six elements wind, fire, water, ice, light, and the earth began to intertwine, weaving together into a radiant, pulsating sphere of pure energy. This was a power known only in the oldest legends, a force whispered about in hushed tones, the harmony of sisters. The great monster, the Shadow Devourer, let out a furious roar. It opened its massive jaws, attempting to swallow the swirling sphere of magic, to consume the sisters' combined strength. But this time was different. For the first time in their lives, the four sisters stood side by side, their shoulders touching, their hearts beating in perfect unison, as one. They were no more longer four separate individuals fighting their own battles. They were a single, unified force. Together, with a shared breath and a single thought, they launched the harmony. The blast was blinding, brighter than any dawn that had ever graced the skies of Auroria. It was stronger than the most violent storm, yet warmer than the most comforting fire, and purer than the clearest, untouched river. This incredible wave of power tore through the suffocating darkness that the Shadow Devourer had cast over the land. It slammed into the monster, not just pushing it back, but completely shattering its shadowy form into motes of harmless dust. As the monster disintegrated, the light of the harmony spread across the kingdom, instantly restoring the vibrant colors to the skies, breathing life back into the forests, and cleansing the once tainted waters of Auroria. Exhausted but smiling, the four sisters stood together, hand in hand, as the warm, gentle sunlight returned to their beloved kingdom. The oppressive gloom was gone, replaced by a hopeful new dawn. Aria, who had always soared alone, lowered her head, a look of wonder on her face. "I never knew," she sighed, her voice filled with awe, "that teamwork felt like flying." Selene, the sister of ice who had always felt so cold and distant, whispered, her voice barely audible but full of emotion, "I've never felt this warm before." Emberlyn, the fiery and the independent one, let out a genuine, hearty laugh. "Maybe," she admitted, a hint of surprise in her tone, "I don't have to do everything myself after all." And Liora, the calm and the steady heart of the group, smiled softly at her sisters, her eyes shining. "Sisterhood," she declared with quiet conviction, "is the strongest magic of all." From that day forward, everything changed. The four sisters no longer lived in their four separate, isolated towers, each a symbol of their division. Instead, they moved into one grand crystal hall at the very heart of the palace, a space that represented their newfound unity. They would now rule not as four individuals, but as a single, powerful royal force. Standing together in the light of the restored kingdom, they swore a sacred vow, a promise that would define their future and the future of Auroria. Their voices rang out, strong and clear, echoing through the hall. We are not four princesses with four powers. We are four sisters with one heart. And together, they dedicated their lives to protecting Auroria not just with their incredible powers, but with the far greater strength of love, unity, and the unbreakable sisterhood.